Hello everybody, welcome to this playthrough for Rookie Division with various type of wins in the Origin 9-hole cup here in Golf Clash the game. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also visit golfclashtommy.com for more Golf Clash related content. You can also become a member on patreon.com/golfclashtommy to get the best guides on the market. Link to Patreon is directly in the description down below. Also join our Discord, interact with the fellow community members in there, share your shots, get some help, we have it all. In this tournament, we are going to only play 9 holes, and obviously it's gonna be 9 holes in every tournament we are playing, but we do have one go. We play 9 holes for the qualifying round, we play 9 holes even for the final round. Follow the info box on the right hand side, which will be with the elevation for the drive for the second shot, then what type of ball and club that I think is going to be key. Have in mind that will come a new playthrough once the tournament starts, but use this playthrough to get started with your note taking and also getting an idea on how to play these holes, because we are playing this one from front tee, which is not possible to find in regular tour play, as you can only find them from third tee. So there's going to be drastic changes from playing from third tee to front tee. The videos that are showing in this playthrough are old, some of them, but the voiceover is accurate, the play is accurate, so do not worry about that. Make sure that you comment in the comment section below if you do have any questions. So let's go to hole number 1. For hole number 1, we are going to play the rough bump, and you can play this one in 2 different ways. The opponent is playing before the rough, bouncing over towards the pin, which is a viable option. But the problem we do have there, though, is that we are going to, struggle most of the times to get into the correct position with our wood club, because you can see how close our opponent were to minimum distance club, and that was with a power 0 ball, as it was a basic ball. And if you don't want to play with a long iron, you're going to have to play with a power 0 ball, and if you do have a tailwind, we will still have an issue going in between clubs. So in my opinion, the rough bump is going to be the best, and when playing the rough bump, you play with the sniper if possible. The Viper only if you do have the sniper in level 3 or below. So it's very important that you do pick the club that has the best accuracy and the best ball guideline. 20% over adjustment, and we're playing medium distance number. Perfect ball, we want to clip the rough and roll up towards the pin. A little bit to the left though, but good speed, and this is a good chance for an hole-in-one. For hole number 2, we are having a very good chance for an eagle here. We're using a driver with the most distance that we possible have, using 4.5 bar topspin and 4.5 bar side spin to the right, aiming very close to the rough line to the right, and we are in maximum distance. 10% over adjustment. And we are not using any curl, any overpower, or whatsoever. Using a power 1 ball to, as a start, have the distance that we do want. Now, we position ourselves very nicely here. And the reason we position ourselves to the left is because I believe that's going to be easier to get consistent with your distance than playing on the right-hand side. I'm not saying that the right-hand side is bad. I'm just saying that playing on the right hand side, you will struggle in getting into the same distance with your drive, even if you make the same adjustment. Meaning that there is a glitch on the other side here, which make the ball either roll very long or it will drop dead and be short. And therefore, I'm choosing left hand side to give myself more consistency. Obviously, the wind has a big factor here. If we do have a wind from the beginning, that is northeast, then it makes total sense as well to play left hand side, because then we can play with a direct tailwind to the hole. And playing with a wind like this makes us having more margin for error, as with a crosswind or with a massive angle tailwind or headwind, we're definitely going to have more trouble when it comes to adjust for the second shot. Leave the ball guideline short if you do not have a ball guideline that is 4.0 or better. Why? It's because when you don't have a fully developed ball guideline, you don't see the complete rollout, which makes it very easy, if so, to come in too hot. And the worst thing you can do on a par 4 like this is to come in too hot that you bounce on the pin and roll out. We all have done it and obviously want to make sure that we're not going to do that again. No elevation for the second shot. You just use the regular numbers and then an eagle is very, very possible. For hole number 3, we're going to play a tough par 5 of the Porthello Cove, and here I would like us to play on the right hand side using a quarterback and a side spin 3 ball, so Katana or the Kingmaker or any type of special ball that has at least power 2 and side spin 3. Here you can see that we are going to try to get over the rough and the sand there, and even if it looks very difficult, it's not as difficult as it actually looks. 3 bars of topspin, max side spin to the left, and then we're going to adjust from overpowered position. I would strongly advise you to play with a power 3 ball if you do have a headwind or a crosswind. In a tailwind, we can stretch out and then adjust from overpowered position with our Katana. And then obviously I would play with the Katana instead. If we do have, you know, a headwind as well, something to think about is that the left-hand side of the fairway, like the left-hand fairway with the drive, is a viable option, but very difficult. I'm going to talk a little bit about that after the second shot. 2 bars of backspin, 1.5 bar side spin to the right. We aim directly at the pin, and the reason I want to aim directly at the pin is because there is a little slope coming left to right. From, you know, if we go more left on the green, it slows down to the right, and that's very difficult to control, and it's very easy then to miss right. Even though I miss right for the second shot here, as just talked about, it's still better to go directly at pin. It will increase the opportunity to make an albatross big time. 10% over adjustment for the second shot as well, and you play with the sniper if you have it in level 4+, otherwise you play with the Viper. Just to go back to what I said with the drive, that if we do have a headwind, or let's say we don't have a club with curl, or we don't have a side spin 3 ball, then we're going to play up to where our opponent is. But the problem we do have from that position is that we do have a massive elevation drop for the second shot, which is going to be all the way to 40% extra. So if we can play right side, do that. It's just going to be a last way out or whatever, the last type of the last shot to play is gonna be on the left, hashtag Swinglish. So 10% over adjustment for the drive, 10% for the second shot, tough par 5, be okay with an eagle. For hole number 4, we're going to play a very, very tough par 4, especially when we do play with lower level clubs. 4.5 bar topspin, and I'm also using then 2.5 bar side spin to the right. But you can see that I changed to 3 bars of topspin, and the reason I'm trying to mix here around with the topspin here is to land over on the fairway on the other side of the rough and sand and water, but to make sure that I'm not rolling into the rough there on top. Using a little bit of overpower to compensate for the less distance we're having. And if we can and want to play with a power 2 or power 3 ball, we will be much better off by choosing one of those, so we don't have to go with overpower. In my opinion, 3 to 3.5 bar topspin is going to be the best one to use. No elevation for the second shot, and here becomes it way difficult with underdeveloped clubs. And why is that? It's because if we're gonna go directly at green, we do need to have a lot of backspin. And if we do not have a lot of backspin, we're going to have to attempt making a rough bump with a Goliath. And why the Goliath? It's because it does have a lot of topspin. When we play in such a steep uphill position, we do need a lot of topspin, as we otherwise will risk falling short and roll back down into the rough again. But the rough bump is very difficult to find a line where we can have a consistent distance towards the pin when it rolls. So If you do not have a Saturn level 9 plus, or maybe a high levels, or a Tsunami, or maybe a Grim Reaper, then you're going to struggle on this hole, and the rough bump is the best option, even though it's not a completely solid approach. So a birdie on this hole is going to be the general score on hole number 4. For hole number 5, we're going to play a par 3 of the White Cliffs. And here it's going to be very difficult for us to, you know, with underdeveloped clubs, to do something well. Because if you don't have the ball guideline, you're going to have to guesstimate how much this ball will roll. And we are going to play before the rough and the sand to have the best possible line towards the pin. We're going to play 25% over adjustment. And we're going to play this one maximum distance numbers, even though we are not in maximum distance. I'm playing with the mauling ball, as I don't really believe that we do need any other type of ball here to still do okay. Sniper, if you do have it in level 4 plus. Otherwise, you're going to play with the Viper. We are looking for the best possible ball guideline together with the best possible accuracy to give ourselves a good chance here on hole number 5. But have in mind that this is a difficult hole. Making a hole in 1 here is going to be a massive bonus. For hole number 6, we are going to play a par 5. This is going to be a very difficult hole once again for those of you playing with underdeveloped clubs. Power 3 ball, very important. If you can play with a power 4 or power 5 ball, I would suggest you to use one, because that's gonna make the second shot a lot easier. Now, I'm looking for doing a double bounce over the rough and the sand, or to go directly over the rough and the sand, trying to gain as much distance possible. The thing that we do need to have in mind here is that we do need to push this drive hard, because we do want to get as much distance possible on the fairway. If we do not get enough distance, we will not reach to the greenie 2 no matter what we're doing. So this drive here goes unfortunately into the rough, but I think it's a valuable option, or like a very valuable option here to show this, because just because you make it over to the other fairway doesn't mean that the ball is going to stop. There's a lot of glitchy spots there that will make some drives go into the rough and some will drop just short. But you do need to get over and get up to the very end there to have a chance from distance. 10% over adjustment for the drive. You may be wondering, like, is it game over if we just reach into the rough? No, not if you're up there. Now we can actually lay up close to the bunker by the, close to the green. You cannot reach to the green though, that's out of the question. But we can reach to a situation where we would be having a wedge towards the pin, or as a worst case scenario, a short iron. But I strongly believe though, pushing this drive hard, using half a bar to 1 bar of topspin, and having first bounce before the rough and the sand, and then to bounce over to try to get a lot of distance is going to be the play to do. Because if you do get into the position where our opponent is in, then we can basically say bye-bye to have a good chance making an eagle. Because we do need to get over, even if we roll a little bit long, we can still make a save there. Now you see Nirvana level 2 is not really the best one. I would suggest to use a rough iron with a lot of topspin. So if you might have unlocked the Amazon, even if it's a level 1, then that club is going to be much better than using the Nirvana. Why? Topspin. So now I do lay up here, and from this distance we're going to have a short iron towards the pin. And then we do have 2 options to play. We either go for the rough bump by the green, but then the ball guideline, in my opinion, is going to be very, very valuable to have, which we don't have with underdeveloped clubs. The other way to play it would be to go for a dunk or just a normal, backspin shot towards the pin. And that is up to you, obviously, in how you want to play it. We are going to play from the position we are at now, though, minus 10%. And you may be wondering, why do I not add that into the information box on the right? It's because we shouldn't really be there. So this is just a recovery way for us to play, where in the end, we should be ending up on fairway, and then the second shot with a big dog is going to be 0%, so no elevation. You see that I'm choosing to go for the dunk. If you do want to go for the dunk, make sure that the blue tiny arrows that you can see there by the center of the bullseye is in the back end of the cup. And from there, we do adjust our rings as just as normal, and then we're going to take our shot. Again, getting an eagle here is going to be difficult, but absolutely possible. Hole number 7. Hole number 7 is a par 4, and we are going to play the drive with a 20% over adjustment. And we're going to just play straight forward. You may be wondering, why don't we play over to the right hand side and get closer to the green? We don't have the curl. So then it's a power slice, or we just have to play straight forward. And playing straight forward is going to be very difficult to get something to drop. So the best chance to drop is to go on the right hand side. But again, as we cannot do so with the clubs that we're having, and we're going to, if so, have to have higher level clubs, meaning like a higher level quarterback. We need to have maybe like an Apocalypse upgraded, an extra mile level 8 or 9 as a stretch. We do need a lot of curl though. Laying up here on the left hand side, we do with a Marlin, because I don't see the point in spending a different type of ball here, as again the opportunity is very tiny of getting a drop from the left. We just need to ensure that we're at least getting the birdie. But as we do have one chance in this mini tournament to actually give ourselves an extra, a bonus drop compared to what our opponent is having, we're at least going to give it a go, even if we cannot play to the right. And that is that we're going to go for a very thin rough bump. And the rough bump is going to be played with a long iron that do have at least 130 yards of distance, which is going to be the Goliath, especially with lower levels. 1 bar of topspin, I'm using 2.5 side spin to the right, which is maximum with a Marlin. And now we're going to adjust 40% over adjustment. And here it would be very valuable to either take it from the wind chart creator on golfclashtommy.com, or if you're using some sort of calculator to get the correct type of numbers. Because if you miss the rough, you're gonna be in the rough or in the sand on the back end of the green. But if we do make a proper adjustment, we're at least gonna have a chance, even though it's a very tiny one. Very close making the eagle here, but hole number 7 is going to be a difficult hole for underdeveloped clubs, but also for players playing from front tee in general, as the majority of us do not have the curl needed. Okay, so hole number 8, par 3, we play 30% over adjustment with our long iron, and here we're going to focus on the setup more than we're going to focus on the result. And the reason we're not going to focus on the result is because it becomes crap. And as this is a problem with all the recordings, especially on difficult holes like this one, we do have a crosswind coming left to right. We do need to use a ball with more side spin. In my opinion, we do need to play this one with a katana ball, as with a katana ball we can give our side spin 3, and that will be very, very helpful. So we changed that one to a katana ball, and you can see as well that we do have a Goliath as a suggestion, and I'm playing with a backbone. The backbone does have the distance when using a katana ball, which would make sense to use the backbone. But if we do have a headwind, playing with the backbone, we will not be having any distance, and we have to go with overpower. Curl is going to be needed though. We need to use a little bit of curl, even though we do have side spin 3. And this is going to be very difficult, and I do think that if you do not feel comfortable in a detailed adjustments like this, then you should be playing it just on the left side, taking a putt, making the birdie on this tough par 3, because I do think we're gonna see more pars than we're gonna see hole-in-ones for sure on this one. 30% over adjustment is what I'm playing this one, as mentioned in the start, and have in mind side spin 3 ball is major key. For hole number 9, we're going to play a very difficult par 5, and we're going to play this one on the right hand side. And here I want you to play with a Titan ball minimum. We do need the power to be able to go to the right. You can see that I'm kind of like debating on which way I'm gonna go, and that's because this was, as you can see, it's an older recording, the first time I played this hole, and then I didn't really know which way to play. But it's still going to be accurate because I actually choose the right way to play. 4.5 bar topspin and 4.5 bar side spin to the left. We adjust with a maximum distance and a 10% over adjustment. And then we need to make sure that we do have at least half a ball of curl to use to go to the right hand side. And the curl is going to be very, very needed. And you see there that I did hit great left. And that's the reason why we come that close at least to the rough line. But the more curl you're having, the easier it's going to be to get over to the right hand side. So even if you would be having more curl, use more curl. If you do have the possibility to play with the big topper and the power 3 ball like our opponent, I would suggest you to do so. Because big topper have more curl, it also have more topspin. And the thing is though, don't use it with a basic ball, please. Our opponent is playing in the center. I'm not saying playing in the center is bad, it's just that I do believe that the opportunity for an albatross, even though it's pretty tiny, is going to be the best going on the right hand side. He's going in the center, max overpower, this is gonna fly and it's gonna be left, and now you will not be able to reach for the green in 2. So this hole is very difficult in that regard, that if you get into the rough, you cannot reach for the green in 2. That's not gonna be a possibility. Second shot we play on the right side of that big bunker there, and it has been positioned perfectly by the game makers because it makes the second shot difficult. Try to play very close to the bunker because now we do need to play for the pin, even though we could settle for an eagle, but you know, an albatross here would be nice. If you're playing and you're in a situation where, okay, if I get an eagle I'm gonna qualify, or I'm getting an eagle, I'm gonna get the score that I want to, then maybe move a little bit more right and use a little more curl to the left instead of having your first bounce very close to the bunker, to try to just minimize the risk and still get yourself a little bit of an opportunity. 10% over adjustment for the second shot as well. I'm playing with the big dog to give myself the distance, but those of you playing with the sniper level 9+, you can use that club instead. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough with various type of wins here for the Origin 9-hole Cup. Rookie Division play from front tee. You cannot practice any of these holes from front tee, and all of the videos I'm using are older recordings that I'm using a new voiceover, but the way that we're playing is still 100% accurate to how I would be playing them in the tournament and also in tour play. Make sure that you comment in the comment section below if you do have any questions. Make sure that you also subscribe for the best guides on the market on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Link in the description down below. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Thank you so much for watching and good luck in the 9-hole Cup.